We've all heard about the importance of stretching. You're supposed to do it before and after a workout. But is that it? And how do we know if we're doing it right? Here to talk about it is Dr. John DiMaggio from Tulsa Spine and Rehab. Dr. DiMaggio, let's first remind people what proper stretching is and why it's so important.
Proper stretching is a combination of things, and there's a couple different types I want to talk about and when exactly is the best time to use them. So typically people, like you said, want to stretch before and after a workout, but you have different goals with each of those. Before the workout, your goal is to warm up the muscles you intend to use, make sure that they're working through a full range of motion and that your joint capsules and everything in those areas is warmed up as well. And that kind of stretching, I would recommend a dynamic stretch. So what that is essentially, if you plan to do lunges or squats that day, is working through that range of motion by doing a couple of those with your body weight, or usually holding on to something so you're not as heavy as you normally are. So getting into a lunge position, holding on to a squat rack or something, sinking into that position, kind of moving through the end range of motion without going too far, and then coming back up and doing some light reps with those. Typically after a workout, you're going to do some type of static stretching, and that's the most common stretching that you'll see people doing is holding for 15 to 30 seconds, typically like you'll see a hamstring stretch, and that's mainly for flexibility.
So it sounds like what you're saying then is, especially beforehand, the type of stretching you do really relates to the type of exercise or workout you plan to have, right? You can't just do the same before exercise stretching that you always do. It needs to relate to what you plan to do for this workout.
Yeah, truly. And the type of stretching is it's starting to change a little bit from what the old school thought was that static stretching was great before performance exercise, such as, heavy lifting or, if you're racing. But the goal is to warm up the muscle through that dynamic stretch, or even, a slow type of cardiovascular activity, get the blood flowing. Then you want to do a couple of these movements. And then following that, you're going to the static stretching and things like that are more for the flexibility and the range of motion post-workout.
How do we know whether it's before or after a workout? How do we know we've done enough?
Typically, that's where your goal comes into play. If you are in great health, you don't have any musculoskeletal issues, and you're trying to work on your ankle mobility, so you're going to do some calf stretches after you've warmed up. Or if you've come in here, you've seen Dr. Riley or someone like myself, and we're trying to get your hips to unlock or become more mobile, we may give you stretches that after you've done your cycling or whatever the case is, that you go through these. Once you've warmed up, usually is the key is that you want to stretch a warm muscle. Then that's kind of, like I said, going back to your goal.
You can do some damage, can't you, if you stretch improperly?
Yeah, and that's the other thing too is pain. More pain is not more gain. It's you want to be conscious of what you feel is, when you get to that range where you start to feel that stretch, that's the beginning is where you want to be. You don't want to find the end range of that stretch. The other thing too is be cautious with partner stretching. A lot of times people will tend to be macho or whatever the case is, or the person stretching, you may not know exactly what cues you are giving them to say, hey, maybe that's too much pressure, or I need to kind of calm down. So you want to listen to your body and don't overdo it. You can always, stretch a little at a time and work yourself out. It's going to take a few minutes to really get stretched out and start to become more limber. So
what about stretching not related to a workout? Let's say it's your day off in terms of your workout schedule, that sort of thing. Are there times that it's important to stretch even beyond just the workout time?
For sure. And like I said, if you're going for that flexibility goal, you're going to have to repeat this process several times a week. Sometimes you can do it twice a day if you're, that committed. A lot of times we'll tell people twice a day because you maybe get them to do it once. But however, like you said, you want to work on this even if you may not be able to make it to the gym. If you got 10 or 15 minutes to try to stretch, if you work at a desk, get out of those positions. So that's going to be sort of the dynamic stretch that you're moving through a range of motion. So if your chest is tight and you want to get into a door frame, and kind of put your arms up in like a field goal stance and then lean into it and do a couple of those reps like I'm talking about, holding maybe for 5 to 10 seconds and coming back out. It's not that long static stretch. The other thing too is, like I said, if you don't warm up your muscles like that, you're going to, if you're not working out, you can also do this following like a shower or something where the physical temperature of your muscle has warmed up so that tissue is more pliable.
The team at Tulsa Spine and Rehab wants to help you achieve your fitness goals and live pain-free. Give them a call to see how they can help. 918-743-3737.